Welcome, everyone. I'm Fractillions for the Facilitation Squad. And while everyone joins, I'm going to just share some links with all of you guys. If you have any questions for today's session, I will paste it here in the chat for everybody. Let me just get it there. Please use that for your questions today. And this session is being recorded and will be up by tomorrow on the Decentraland YouTube channel. Also, here is the link of all the past AMAs if you guys want to catch up and watch all the past sessions we have had so far. Also, be sure to mark your calendar for next week. On April 6th, we have the SDK and editor team joining us. And for further information, you can always be sure to check out the Notion doc. It has all the upcoming AMAs as well. And again, here is that link for you guys. So with that, I will pass it on to Matthias, who is the Catalyst and Decentralized Services Engineering Manager from Decentraland Foundation. Thank you all for being here.
Okay, thank you, Natalie. Hi, everyone. So, as usual, let me do the presentation. Just a second, I'm going to share my screen. Here. So, welcome to the Catalyst and Decentralized Service AMA. Ask me anything. I'm going to start the presentation as usual, and then Miguel is going to continue with the Decentraland service part. I'm going to cover the Catalyst servers. Again, if you like, here you have the QR code to post questions on the Slido.
Matti, can you please enter on slideshow mode?
Oh, yes, sorry, slideshow.
There you go. Thank you so much.
No problem. So a quick recap, if there are newcomers, as usual, platform, what do we do, why do we exist? To enable massive decentralized communication and content management in real time for the Decentraland protocol. That's our scope. That's what we aim. For this, we have our products. The main products are the Catalyst nodes, and we have some side also services that we manage in the team. One is the Decentraland status page, and the other one was Worlds, that it was born as a simple version of a Catalyst node for a preview server, and it's becoming much more. On the Q1, so we are actually closing Q1 roadmap, and these were like our goals. The first one is the content server on-chain validations. This is already implemented, and we have a working version. We haven't put this in production, but we are going to do it in the short term. The idea is with on-chain validations is to have a different validation system to upload content to the Catalyst servers. So when we upload some entities like an scene and a land, an emote, or wearable, we run some validations using the graph. Now we have another way to do those validations using smart contracts directly. And this is going to enable us to be more resilient when the graph fails. In the same sense, we implemented an RPC, like a remote call. We have a service that calls between the graph and Transuma. They are two providers that run the same service to make queries to the blockchain. And we also have some redundancy there in order to avoid problems when a service is failing and keep the platform up and running. In terms of worlds, what we scope for version 1 for the service as the service, it's completed. You can publish words on a name. You can grant permissions to different names. We have an API to expose the list of words that are listed on the server, how many users are connected to each word. What we wanted to do for words was also to have them published on places and on the event site, but there was some pushback on some polls. So there are some decisions to be made there. There is no development scope for the server itself, and more polls are coming to see how Words is going to keep evolving. And I think that we're going to take these decisions together. That's why I marked it as this is complete for the service implementation, but we still need to make some decisions product-wise to see how this is going to continue. Then the Catalyst fast bootstrapping, this was a huge rollout for us. It enabled us to do the fast patching of the servers. We decreased the bootstrapping time, that is the time that a Catalyst server takes to start when you restart it, from like half an hour to 6 to 7 minutes. The texture helper service, the one at the bottom, we dropped it. We invested a couple of weeks creating this service, and then working with the Explorer team, they realized that it would be better to have this on the client. So it's not completely waste, because the code created and the texture conversions and the rates and everything is probably going to be reused, but they are going to put this on the client side instead of creating a service for this. So we are not working on that service, and that was dropped after the development. And what we are working on right now at the moment is the improving the peak real logic. We have an ETA that is going to be in a week from now. If there are no more incidents that take away our time, but we want to improve how a Catalyst server is chosen from the client. There are several rules that are around here, like you could use the latency, you could use how many peers are in the server, you could use how many peers are in the area that you are going, and we want to add some improvements, like take into account the Catalyst version, so that you are up to date or on a more secure server. And there will be a couple of recipes to manage different scenarios. For example, if there are a lot of users flooding the Catalyst network at the moment, we could use some of those recipes to distribute the users more equally on some nodes, so that we help to users get connected, but we don't kill a single server. That's something that sometimes happens. There is more information about this in the public ADR, and that link is in the presentation that we're going to share with you. In regards of metrics, the key metrics that we have been sharing, the peers capacity on the server hasn't changed. The comms service, in terms of performance, is working pretty well. And we haven't had incidents, at least on the Catalyst side, on the last 3 months. There were some incidents happening this week that might be related to comms, but they were not on the Catalyst. Actually, the fixes that we did were mostly on the client. So for the Catalyst, this is the data that we are managing. And that's it from the recap. Miguel?
Thanks, Mari. So, hi everyone. I'm Miguel. I'm engineering manager for the services team. So, as usual, let's start with why do we exist? To enable the content creators a community by providing an intermediate set of services and apps to interact with the world and provide added value. So, our focus has not changed. We're mainly focused on improving the social interaction and engagement in the world. Next slide, please. So our products, we are the owners for the friends and messaging, a private messaging subsystem, which leads to the social interactions in the world, texting through DMs and channels to your friends, and also that owns the presence of whereabouts feature. Then events and places, which are applications for advertising your events in the world, and also rating and recommending and advertising scenes. In general, discover activities to do in Decentraland. And last but not least is the reward service, which is the service that manages campaigns for giveaways of wearables in different events and quests, and enables users to claim rewards, and enables also the content creators to connect through their scenes and create more engaging quests in their scenes, right? Next slide, please. So let's review a bit of what we've done during this last quarter. So first of all, we released the Social Service M1, which is a wrapper for our current chat and friends management subsystem. This extended our friendship querying capabilities and enabled us to have also mutual friends and faster and more reliable friendship requests. We are currently working, and this is in the second IDR mentioned here, which is going to be also in the link in the presentation later, we're working on a second iteration for this social service, which will enable real-time notifications on new friend requests, and will remove the dependency from the alliance system, making it a lot more faster and more reliable. And under the hood, we have plenty of technical improvements undergoing here as well. Then, related to quests, we're working on this new quest system. We are working firstly on the definitions for the product, and we have a clear vision of what an MVP will look like for the next quarter. But in the meantime, we're working on the proof of concept, having already a new backend successfully done, more scalable than the previous version. Still, we need some results and benchmarks to prove on this. We're currently working on a second milestone of this proof of concept, which is to enable the scenes to connect to this new backend service. And last part of this POC will be to explore a new UI designer for quests or quest manager that will make it a more user-friendly experience for content creators instead of all the huge shades that we used to push for having quests in the world. So that will be part of also what we plan to work on the next quarter and keep improving here. Then in terms of places, we're working on improvements to have automatically updates of content to places application. This will be taken automatically with each deployment, as today is a manual process. There still will be a place for refining all of this data in the application. And also we are giving support to add all these places, not only in our application, but also inside the Explorer client as well. Then we were planning on having some events upgrades during this quarter, but this was dropped. We'll need to review back in the future. And finally, in terms of social improvements during this quarter, we launched a lot of them, mainly with the new friend request with optional messages, as well as the latest mentions in the chat in order to make linkable names to see the profiles of other people in the world. Next slide, please. Okay. I think we're missing one, right?
Missing one. Or this one.
All right. Yeah.
I don't know why it went through. Okay.
All right.
Here it is.
Thank you. So in terms of highlights and lowlights during this last quarter, well, we had a couple of incidents with the homepage on a blog being offline, but it was quickly tackled and corrected the pipelines in order to make them online again. And also we had an incident during the last part of February, which was related to chat on friends being unavailable, and we were able to identify the issue in the client and revert it so that we could connect again to the service. On better note here, we developed leveraging on a DCL protocol, a new implementation for our current technologies for the RPC protocol that we manage for Decentraland. This will enable faster and more reliable communication between different systems. And we are using this new technology for the current iteration of the social service and the upcoming Quest service as well. Yeah, let's go to the next slide. Thank you.
Okay, so again, like here is the Slido. If you have any question to add, in the meantime, I'm going to jump to the questions that we already have. So there is only one question for today posted. It is from Dax. It says, from the Catalyst team's perspective, what is good direction from DCL metrics? What is something that is not on your roadmap, but you would see as useful? I don't know if anyone is here from the DCL Metrics team. I was thinking about this.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Dax. I was thinking about this before the presentation. And I think that the page that you have it's awesome. There is a lot of useful information, and you are consuming a lot of the data that the Catalyst is exposing. We have actually no more data. You're using everything, users, locations. I don't know, whatever we have. You are like building cool dashboards for that. Perhaps, and this is my idea, it would be useful also to have more users' data in terms of the economy that they generate, or the like what they are giving to the platform. You know, you have one that is how much time do they spend logged in, but perhaps it would be interesting to know, okay, as this is all public data, how many transactions, how many items do they own, how much do they sell on the marketplace. So I think there are things that you can build there, and probably have some key metrics for wallets and users.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much. That's really good feedback.
Awesome. I don't know if anyone else wants to propose something else. This is an open discussion. This was the idea I had before the meeting. So, okay. We can discuss that offline if you want. I'm going to mark this as answer, and we can go to the next one. Where can I find documentation about authenticating, interacting with the communication service to build an application that lets me chat with my friends?
Is it related to the chat in the near chat or in world, or more related to friends management and direct messages? Well,
from the question, I would think that this is with friends. So I don't know, like this is going through Matrix, perhaps a Matrix client application.
Yeah. All right. So in terms of that, we do have a public client for authenticating and connecting to the friends management system, which is in our repos. I think we can also link that in the responses later when we upload all of the responses to GitHub. And there, with that client, it will be possible to query friends as well as initializing chats with them as well.
Perhaps when we provide the written answers, we can add the links to those repos so that you can research and do.
That's it.
Okay.
I have a follow-up for that. Oh, go ahead, Pato, if you want to go first.
Sorry, Matt, I was about to mention, we have two kinds of chats in Decentraland. I'm not sure if this is a great opportunity to explain the difference, right, in terms of nearby chat and private messages and even channels. Not sure, Matt, if your question was related to that, but I'm seeing this as a great education opportunity.
Yeah, it kind of was. I was going to say, is connecting to like a nearby chat for an island something that's possible? You know, maybe we're watching a live stream of a party going on our phones, and to be more interactive, if there was a way to like still chat with the users, that would be pretty cool.
Yes, I think so. The nearby chat goes through a different channel, that is the comm service on the Catalyst that is currently implemented over LiveKit, and uses the same channel that we use to send profile updates. I think it would be possible to implement something like this, but you would need to specify, okay, in which realm and in which position you want your like chat application to connect. So there are going to be some parameters needed because you want to read the nearby chat from a particular area in the world in a particular realm. I don't know if, yeah, we can look into it on how to do it. I don't know, like if someone from the team, Mariano, perhaps if you have more experience with the comms part, can expand on that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it yet still. I don't think it's quite easy because the fact when you are in world, you are already you're connected to an island. That island is assigned based on your location, and the nearby chat is about talking to everyone else in the same island. As you move through the world, you may change islands and you join other people, and that's how the nearby chat works. If you want to create a separate client, you need to go through the island process because the island determination process is what gives you an island and also gives you like a token to join the room. So I don't think it's that straightforward. I mean, you have to have an island ID to join, and that's given to you when you are in world. I'm not sure you can create something where you're not in a particular place. And
yes, I think the way to do it perhaps is like creating some kind of a bot, right? Because you create a connection to a position, and then you are assigned an island from comms, and then you listen to the nearby messages.
But then everything you send is not yours; it's the bot's. So I would like to understand a bit better what you guys want to build or what you're thinking of, and see if or how we can fit it. So I'm happy to keep the conversation going and listening more. Yeah.
Matt, I don't know if you want to expand a little bit or.
Yeah, I was just thinking through it, but yeah, I guess the one part of it is getting connected, like maybe check all the positions and you find your friend, but then if there's no way to just say, let me connect to this island, if you have to be in world to get assigned an island, then it's a little bit more difficult. But I was thinking something simple, like you select a realm, get a list of islands, select an island, and then you can kind of like connect to the chat for that. But if being in world is the only way to get assigned the island, then that would be an issue, I assume.
I don't think we can list islands right now.
Gotcha.
But if you provide your position, then Archipelago, it's one of the subsystems, can assign an island to you. But again, you need to keep up with the protocol. You mean like the being online protocol? Like you send your location, you're part of the. So it's not an isolated chat situation. So, but you said something about going to where your friends are, and that's something that goes outside of comms, and that's the other side of the chat. Do you want to explain that other part, how it works?
Yeah, so in terms of championing to someone else's position, that's part of what you can do with the friends management part. The private messaging system. So if you are friends with someone in the world, you will see the status, if they are online or not. And when they are online, you should also be able to jump into where they are. That would be also the realm and the position. And you should see them around and chat with them as well.
Are we able to connect to the chat service to direct message a friend, like from outside the world?
Yeah. And that's what I was mentioning before. We have an open source client for that, and I will share the link in the responses afterwards.
Cool. And is channels under that as well? Like, say there's a party at Dollhouse, and then maybe we can just chat in the Dollhouse channel. Would that be possible?
Exactly.
Yes. Cool.
Yeah, I think that for channels and friends, it may have more sense and it's going to be easier to implement.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, so any plans on changing change realm to name? Okay, this is two words, like changing the name of the command. This was listed as a feature requirement, so it's in the plans. Actually, at some point, I thought this was implemented. Probably it was on development. Yeah, I think that's why I think you can do this. This is already done. Yeah, work. Okay.
That works right now.
Already working. So this is a feature development faster than we ever done.
Probably you still need to type DCLE.
Yes.
They're asking about just DX, just your name. Not sure if that works.
Like removing the suffix.
Yeah. Unless you use the full DCL name, which includes dcl.eth, it doesn't work.
Yeah, okay. We can take a note to implement that. It should be something easy to implement.
Yeah, Pata has a point. It's not part of the help.
Okay, remove suffix and add to the help. Add commands to the help. Okay, is it technically possible for an external party to build an application from Android or iOS that allows people not in Word to use chat from their phones? Any plans? I think this is kind of the same question, but for the channels and friends, that is technically possible. We are using the same backend, like the Matrix backend service that is the centralized service for that. And you only need a client and connect to the server, and you can manage all the chats. And not for nearby.
Not for nearby,
yeah.
No.
What is the best way to enable a player to stream their screen to a material in the scene without involving the landowner every time? Okay, this is, I think, out of the scope of this. I cannot provide an answer for this. If anyone can take this one, otherwise we can probably move this question to the SDK. AMAK, it's the following one. And that's it. I don't know, like we have some time and open mic. Does anyone want to jump in, comment?
Tobik was asking in chat, are there any potential long-term plans to develop like a chat app, or would that be kind of open for someone to take on as a DAO grantee or something?
I can take over this question. On the short/mid-term, there are no plans for the foundation to develop we call it companion app, which basically can include chat and some other complementary features to the in-world navigation. I think this is like an isolated and perfect example for boosting our grants program, because indeed, becoming a platform that helps you to connect with your friends must include a chat. And the current deadlock that we have, that in-world navigation is not supported in mobile or browsers, I think that's something that we should tackle.
I always thought that we could have a 2D platform, a 2D version, not like the 2D client of Decentraland, the one that's kind of retro. I'm talking about experiencing Decentraland like an app, like Discord, like, having Twitter spaces there. I don't know how many alternatives are right now that are like open source. Well, you have Mastodon, for example, which has this social media, but I think Decentraland could be leading in that sector, because we would have Web3 integrated. We would be we could do self-hosting or something like that, which is awesome from a freedom perspective. We could be open source, and I think we could lead at that area. And especially, it's fun when you can move from a 2D platform to 3D and grab some of the stuff you're doing on the 2D version. With 2D, I mean the app version, the web app, and start bringing things to, because sometimes the community these days is very condensed on Discord, on Twitter, and Decentraland sometimes could be used to have conversations. With that being said, is it possible to have calls in the future between users, like private calls?
Okay, let's go one by one. So at the very beginning, Toby, what you mentioned, the central games with their companion app, they are embracing a lot of functionality that is provided by the Decentraland platform, like identity management, profiles and content, and they are porting and serving that information in their mobile app. So potentially it's a good opportunity to cross-connect with the central games. They do have a chat, but I'm not 100% sure if they are using the Decentraland platform chat. With that said, I will pass the ball to Miguel to answer the voice chat or calls feature that you just asked.
Yeah, thank you, Pato. In terms of what you mentioned just now about the central games, I haven't heard of them using our current infrastructure for chat, but might also be something that I'm missing. In terms of having private voice chats in world, that's something we've discussed, but it's not currently in the short-term roadmap. I think it's a feature that might be there if we have plenty of people from the community asking for it.
Yeah. On top of that, like we are building the communication service on top of Likeit, that is a tool that is to manage WebRTC connections and this type of communication that we are having at the moment. We are actually having team meetings inside Decentraland in a world because it's like a private space, and we do this all the time. And I think we can take this further and build something like Gather Town inside Decentraland. Where you go to a table and then you have a video call with the people in the table. The technology is there. We need to see if this is going to become a priority or not.
Another question is, when you're on a LAN, right, and you want to moderate, because sometimes you have people that are just annoying other people. How would you do it currently? I don't think there is a way to kick out someone from the conversation.
I think you can mute someone.
Yes, but you can mute someone from a personal level. Yeah. You cannot do it as an admin, or I want this person to be out, because if that requires every user to start muting the same person, which sometimes people would just leave and don't mute because they don't know how to mute, or they are just lazy to do it.
Yeah, that's true. Probably if we move into that direction, we will need some moderations. Like if you want to use Decentraland to have meetings, you will need to have some way to control who can access the meeting. This is probably going to be easier to start with doing in worlds, because you can have an isolated scene and you only need to have a way to allow people in the world, like while listing a list of addresses or enable only people that have some certain NFT. And then you have a safe space. Sorry?
Like the big question here is, who has the right to ban someone else?
The owner of the world.
Well, if you are in the world, that's right. You are the owner. Yeah. You can do whatever you want. But if you are in Genesis City, like, who can ban who?
I would do on each land, for example, the landowner, the one that owns the land, can designate managers, can designate mods, and on that land specifically, basically you can mute people. What you could do is that you could create another channel, because right now there is nearby, right? You could have another one that sets by default when you touch a land that it says that it has the name of the land, and on that one the landowner can moderate. So in that way you keep nearby, which is and you cannot moderate it. But then the other one, the one specifically for that land, which sets by default when you touch a land, turns on, and the manager can. Because right now we try to have conversations for the DAO, and the fact that no one can moderate them is a bit like unreliable. So.
Yeah, and in fact we discussed the feasibility of having channels per scene, and that's something that as the idea would be that the scene owners or scene moderators would be the ones being able to moderate those channels as well. That's not currently in the roadmap, but that's one of the ideas that we've been discussing in the team.
So when it comes to developing an external app for having all this conversation, all these calls, the way you would moderate would be like from a front end way, because you couldn't technically remove someone from the connection between the Decentraland protocol and them. It's like you would need to do something different if you wanted to moderate.
Not sure I understand the question, but the idea would be to have tools in the UI that would let you like mute someone or even ban them from the channel.
Yeah, but that would require like an external server, because
oh yeah, right. No, I mean this would be using our current infrastructure. This is all, again, it's still not in the roadmap, but an idea we've been discussing. But it would be using our current channels infrastructure, like the one we use for the Metaverse Fashion Week channel or Metaverse Music Festival that we used last year, and it's already in place, right? But the idea would be to have different channels for each of the scenes we have in world. So no new servers, but rather using that.
I meant that in the case of building an app, for this case in particular, the developer should add a new feature that allows to mute, because it's not part of the protocol right now. Like on top of the protocol.
Right. Yeah. But the idea would be that should be in our provided client, and you could do that both in world if you are a moderator of the scene, or in any other application if that connects using our own client.
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah, there is another question on the list. Probably this one is for you. Is the rewards Decentraland.org project publicly available? I don't see any repo in the GitHub.
Yeah, so the repo is available. It has a different name due to historical reasons, but that's referral, and I can send it in the chat. It is a rewards service, but I will also share the link afterwards in the responses. So that should be the service that we are using right now.
Yeah, that gives me a 404. Maybe it's not public.
It's private.
Me too, yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, it's private. Probably we can open it after this meeting.
Okay, then I think there are a couple of things we must do still to make it public available. Sorry about that.
No problem. Yeah, it's no rush. It just would be interesting if it's not publicly available as a service for anyone to use. If we can at least spin up our own version of that, it's definitely a useful thing to have.
Okay, there is a new one. What is the timeline for the beta of Quest?
All right, so
you're on the spotlight today. So,
in terms of the EDA for that, we are discussing about the MVP and finishing the POC during the next quarter. That should be for the first half of the year. And then moving on to a beta, I think that will be based on the decision we take after we test and verify the POC. But I would say not before the half of the year.
Okay, the next one. The Matrix server is being hosted by the foundation, or is it also replicated on the Catalyst servers?
Okay. Yeah, so that's currently hosted, in our own infrastructure and not replicated.
Yeah.
Could you provide the link for the all the documentation in regards to that?
Sorry, is that about the client to connect to the?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I think we're done. Natalie, I don't know, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Just wanted to make sure there were any last ones. Great. Okay, so I'll close it up. So thanks, Matias, Miguel, for your overview presentation. Thank you, Pato, as well, and the rest of the team for helping answer all the questions to the community. And thanks everyone else here from the foundation and the Decentraland community for coming here and joining us here today. Also, be sure to mark your calendars for our next session happening on April 6th with the SDK and editor team. And thanks again, everyone, for being here. And see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye-bye, folks.